everyone, it's Christina with Kuther Crafts. Today I thought I would show you guys the differences in the mesh. We sent out an email about it, but I really wanted to take some time and show you guys the difference. So I went into my stash and some of the stuff we have out there for sale, and I pulled out one of everything that I could think of that would be different. And so let's just jump right into it. So the first one I want to discuss is your Deco Mesh No Foil. So it has no foil. It's a good base filler, but you will need to use a little bit more. I like to use this as, like I said, a base filler, or you can use it as an accent. So if you're doing some of those evergreen or floral wreaths, this is a good accent that doesn't give you the whole pow. But what this means with no foil is it has none of the shiny strands in it. It's just mesh that's weaved. It's a mesh weave. And if you gather it up, you're still going to be able to see through it. And you're going to have to gather a whole lot of it to not be able to see through it. The thing that I will tell you with the no foil mesh is that sometimes it frays. You can even see on the end. All mesh does fray, but this is one for me that I feel like frays a little bit worse. So this is one that when I cut it, I place it in my item with intentionality and we just leave it alone. And again, it's more used for that accent, or if you do that base where you mix up your meshes, you can use this to help add some of that filler. The next one I want to talk about is our low foil. This one has iridescent strands, but you can get it in regular, not shiny mesh. You can get it shiny. But what that means is it just has these little tinsel things like what you would put on a Christmas tree running through it. So it has your mesh weave. I do feel like this one frays a little bit less, but it is still very see-through. But it will cover well. So this one for me covers better than this one. It's kind of the happy medium. It's a little more affordable. The first one we talked about is very affordable. And so this one, again, it frays, but it's not bad. It's not bad. You can also cut this with, and any of these really, with the wood burner, and it won't fray as bad, but this is a good entry-level price point, and it still covers well. The next one we're going to talk about is a heavy foil. So heavy foil, or is basically, it is completely covered in that tinsel, and it's not as see-through at all. And this is a little more expensive usually. But this one here, you get the most bang for your buck, in my opinion. It gives you the highest coverage and the most bam look. It's easy to work with, and I also feel like the tinsel helps keep it from fraying. I feel like I have the least fray issue with the tinsel. So that would be your heavy foil. The next one we're going to talk about is our jute mesh. So jute mesh, it has, and I don't feel like I have a fray issue with this a lot either. It is kind of see-through, but it's great for rustic, primitive, farmhouse, basic, standard, everyday wreaths. It's also good as an accent. And what the jute means is it has almost like these burlap strands running through it. And it is a little fuzzy, so if it runs up against your clothes, you're going to fuzz on it, but it does cover well, holds its shape very well, and it cuts well. So that would be your jute mesh. Your next one is going to be jute deco mesh. So this has a little bit of both. Again, low fray, high coverage, great look. It's got that brown jute mix and the foil, the tinsel, to give it that little pop. Again, I feel like it holds its shape well, it covers well, and it doesn't fray as bad. I have our fabric mesh. So fabric mesh has that basket weave, and then it has the jute strands running through it, but the jute and the fabric runs both ways. Instead of being just down, it's going crisscross patterns, And it doesn't necessarily have to be checkered. We have some in stock that is just black, just gray, just any color, and it's running both ways. This one, I will say, as far as doing a ruffle, holds wonderfully. I don't feel like it frays, but as far as a poof method, I will say when you use it as a poof, it can get a little heavy, and so sometimes it can sink. You'll have to fluff it a lot. But it does hold its shape very well, and I feel like it feels good, looks good. And if you're not looking for that bang shiny, this will give you that same coverage without the shiny effect. Now, our next is going to be the poly burlap, and this was a big hit over the summer. I still feel like it's a good mesh. I feel like it covers well. Now, I will say I have found that I feel like it frays. People use the wood burners to hold it. This is what folks are using for the flowers. It does cut well, and I feel like it holds its shape well. I feel like it does, for me, have the same effect as the fabric of sometimes if you're trying to use it as a poof, it could sink. But again, if you fluff it, it will be fine. It comes in a variety of colors, and it does hold up well against the sun. And so this is the poly burlap, and again, this is most popular for the flowers. The next up is going to be our basket weave poly. And so basically it has all these little checks and squares. It cuts well. I feel like it holds its shape well. Obviously it is see-through. But there are people who use this for spirals in their wreath, so it adds a little bit of flair to it, different textures. If you're doing the flowers, I've seen people use just the solid and then the checks as an accent to draw your eye in. It gives you, it's more of an accent than I would ever say for coverage. So it does, I feel like, last a while because you're just using it for coverage, for accent. And last but not least is the deco webbing. This comes in a variety of colors. I found it most useful for Halloween, but some of the colors that are carried, you can use in coastal design, so it would work well for summer. You can use it in spring for, like this green would transition well for carrots and Easter. It does crinkle pretty well as a ruffle accent. I would not use this as your base though. And so this would be your deco webbing. All right, I hope that you guys have found this video useful, and you guys have a wonderful day and be blessed.